Common question that we get and that we see is searched for online is, how much should a broken spring replacement cost? Of course, as in most of these questions, the answer is it depends. The biggest factor that goes into that is on what it costs, is what size your garage door is. The size, with height and weight of the door, is what actually determines, are the primary things that determine what spring that you use. Springs are sold in weight, so when we purchase the spring, so the size of the door is going to be directly related to the size of the spring. But in most areas, the charge to replace a broken spring is going to start at least $175, $180 at a minimum. That's going to be for a small door with one spring. And I've seen charges go above $800. Now, when they get anywhere remotely close to that, there's a lot of other things that are going on with that door other than the spring, and it just and those issues weren't addressed until the spring came up. So an average, if everything else is in perfect condition on your door, you're going to probably be looking in the $250 to $350 range for most residential applications. When you get into commercial garage door springs, in almost all cases, they're going to be above the $350. I mean, if somebody tells you that, they're not being very honest with you. When you start getting into heights that are 10 foot and up, the labor involved in changing that spring goes up exponentially the taller that door goes. Just for example, with these three springs here, in residential applications, you can put all three of these springs on the same door. That's 7 foot tall. This spring's going to last 80,000 times, or 80,000 cycles. Up and down one time is one cycle. This spring here is going to last 10,000 cycles. Up and down one time is one cycle. This spring's going to last 50 years or more. The small spring is going to last, and it's all based on usage, but most of the time we see 5 to 7 years of life out of those small springs. So it's somewhat of a loaded question to ask what it should cost, because it really depends on what you want to happen after we replace the spring. When we come out, if you plan on living in your house for more than 7 years, this is the way to go. You'll never have to replace your spring again, unless you live to be over 100 years. And if you're that old, you probably won't care if you have a broken spring. But anyway, when you go with these extreme high cycle springs, naturally these springs are going to be more than what the small springs are. When you get into the commercial springs, it's the same theory applies. We've sold springs that are up to 300,000 cycles. So in a commercial building, high use door that may have forklifts running in and out of it all day long, may get raised 50 to 100 times a day. You're going to want an extreme high cycle spring so that you're not doing that over and over and over. The labor to replace a small spring or a standard cycle spring is going to be almost the same labor as what it is to change the high cycle spring. So, regardless of whether you're doing a replacement spring on a residential door or you're doing a replacement spring on a commercial door, you absolutely want to go with a high cycle spring. Just it makes sense over time. It's going to cost you a lot less money over time, and it's a whole lot less headache because you're not going to be going through multiple times of where you can't get your garage door open, or your vehicle is trapped in the garage, or you had a delivery truck back into the dock and the door won't open, And so you tried to use a forklift to open the door, and the guy on the forklift destroyed the door. And all of these are examples of what we see and hear almost on a daily basis. So go with the high cycle springs and be done with it, and you'll be much happier in the long run. If you have a broken spring, you've already looked at it and analyzed it, give us a call now. We're going to be out there the same day to fix it. We're going to be there typically within 1 or 2 hours to fix the spring. We carry residential springs. Very, very good chance. Most likely we're going to have them on the truck. They can do the repair right then. It's going to take less than an hour most of the time to do that. Commercial springs, we are still going to try to be there within a couple of hours. It really sometimes we can't, depending on other commercial jobs that are ahead of you, but most of the time we're still going to be there. On the smaller doors, we're going to have the springs in stock on the truck. Very good chance. Bigger doors, we can do a temporary patch, which will last a week or so, so that you can reuse the door. We're going to order the spring. When you get into the extreme high cycle, there's a lot of variances. So we will order those springs. As soon as they come in, we'll come back out there, put those on, take the old ones off, and hopefully you won't need to call us again for a long time. Any more questions, or you want to schedule a call, call the phone number listed here on this page. There should also be a button that says schedule now. You can click on that. It schedules right into our scheduling system. As soon as they accept it, you're going to get an email acknowledging that we got the call and that we're coming out. But easiest way, just give us a call. We'll be out there as quickly as we can. Thank you.